And this right here, this is how you separate yourself from the pack. You have YouTubers who make trucking videos, and then you have truckers who make YouTube videos. So this belt was definitely gonna let go on me at some point. Don't remove them all the way, just loosen them. Once you loosen those two bolts, then you loosen these two bolts in the front, push on this, all right, and get this belt over. Now, once I push it back, I'm gonna pull it forward now. You see that? I just released the belt. Same thing for this belt. So I'm gonna push it back. Now I'm gonna pull it forward, and I should be able to release this belt. And that's it. So that's how you release the top belts. But in case you ever run out of fuel, this is exactly what you have to do to prime it. If you do not prime the system when you run out of fuel, good luck trying to get it started. Listen guys, when I started out in trucking, I didn't know how to do this stuff, but I was determined to learn. Everything you guys see me doing right now, I learned this on my own. Nobody taught me, but I was determined to learn. As an owner-operator, this is how you save money. There it is. YouTube, welcome back to my channel, guys. As usual, appreciate you guys for stopping by. You guys see what's going on in the background. Yes, in today's video, I'm gonna be working on my reefer unit. There are plenty of trucking channels on YouTube, but this is how you separate yourself from the pack. If you've ever worked on a reefer unit before, changing the upper belts on the reefer unit is probably the most difficult part of servicing your unit. So, guys, it's about to rain. It's really cloudy out here right now, so I'm about to just dive right in. And hopefully some of my reefer guys are watching this, and you learn something from this. So down the line, if you want to work on your own unit, you could go back and watch this video. So let's get into it, man. All right, guys, so this is all the tools that I'm going to be using for this job. Filter wrench. This is a 9/16. I have a 3/4 socket attached here. This is a 7/16 socket. And normally I would use some paint or a piece of chalk, but right now this is the best I could find. So in a minute it's going to make sense. Flashlight if I need it. And this channel lock is just to release the oil fill cap right here. All right, which I just released. And I have a 11/16 socket attached on this ratchet handle here. And this is to drain my oil. So this belt was definitely gonna let go on me at some point, so I'm glad I'm getting to it right now. This one, not as bad, but I'm gonna change all of them. So let's get into it, man. So the first thing you wanna do, there is 2 bolts on the back side over here. You wanna release those bolts. Don't remove them all the way, just loosen them. Once you loosen those 2 bolts, then you loosen these 2 bolts in the front. And I just wanted to show you guys what I'm doing in the back because I know you probably won't be able to see it. This is where the 3/4 socket comes in. All right, so that's tightening, so let's loosen that bad boy up. And like I said, you don't want to remove this all the way, you just want to loosen it. Because if you remove this all the way, it's going to be pretty difficult to get it back in. So just be careful not to let it come all the way out. Same thing on the other side. All right, that's pretty loose, so that should be good. So now we're going to move on to the front. 2 bolts, and this is where the 9/16 wrench, spanner, whatever you want to call it, comes in. All right. So now that these bolts are all loose, now I should be able to just push on this, all right, and get this belt over. Now, once I push it back, I'm going to pull it forward now. And see that? I just released the belt. Same thing for this belt. So I'm going to push it back, get the belt off. All right, sometimes you got to push it back just a little. Now I'm going to pull it forward, and I should be able to release this belt. And that's it. So that's how you release the top belts. Now, this is where a little paint or piece of chalk or something comes in handy. These are all 7/16 bolts here. Now, it's very important that you mark this, because when you put this back together, it has to go in the same exact spot where you took it from. So hopefully this will dry just in time. I don't want to touch it and mess it up. So I'm just creating a mark right here. All right, so I know exactly where I got it from. So I don't know if the camera is positioned right. You know, I can't see. But right here, I just marked it. So when I remove these bolts and it's time to put them back, this has to line up exactly where I took it from. Because to get this belt off, I'm gonna have to release all these bolts, and it's gonna come from the backside over here. So let's get busy. All right, so let's release these bolts. All right, so this one came out pretty easy. So did this one. It's very important you don't lose these bolts. So I'm actually going to put these in my pocket so I don't lose them. All right, so to get to the other bolts, those could get a little tricky. There we go. All right, so that's 3. To get to the ones up top, I'm probably going to close this door and I'm going to go on top of the unit. Open up this ladder all the way and I'll extend it, and I should be able to get to the top of the unit. All right. So I don't need it this long, so I'm going to shorten it up a little bit. And I want the stronger side to be at the base. So here are the remaining 2 bolts. All right. One more. All right. I think we might have one more bolt on the inside. At the bottom there, yeah. One more bolt on the inside, so I got to go back inside to get that one. So I'm not sure if you guys just caught that when I removed the belt, but my camera just shut off. But to get this belt over is pretty much the opposite of putting it back on. So I'll show you guys what I just did. The top belt is probably going to be the most difficult belt. The rest of them are pretty easy. So putting the belt back on is basically the opposite of what you did to take it off. You're just gonna push it through. Once you get it over the top there, you're on the home stretch. All right, so we're over at the top. Now I just gotta work it all the way around. If I had all right, so the belt is all the way over, guys. If I had a taller ladder that I could stand on at the base, at the top here, it would be much easier. All right, so the belt is all the way over. All right, I'm gonna line this up to where it should be. And I'm gonna put these bolts in, but I'm not gonna tighten it all the way yet. All right, so this one is lined up. Don't drop the bolt, guys. drop this bolt, your day could be over. Pretty sure it's a common bolt that I could find at a hardware store, but you don't want to do that right now. All right, so I'm gonna get the one in the back next. Remember, guys, this is why we marked this spot right here. So when it's time to put it back, you're not guessing. You know, I know it's lined up exactly where I took it from. All right, so I just finger tighten these two. And I'm gonna tighten the rest, and I gotta go back up top to put the other two back on. And the last thing you would wanna do is tighten these all the way, because then when you get up top, you know, it might not be lined up properly. All right, guys, so very important. I forgot to mention this also. Before you tighten those bolts, you always want to spin the fan and make sure it's not hitting. So if you guys listen closely, the fan is hitting right there. So all you have to do, this is your shroud. All you have to do is just move it around like this. Just slightly move it around, and it's gonna get away from the fan. See, I can move this up and down because it's not tightened, all right? So now I'm just gonna spin it and listen. Right there, it's hitting. So it's hitting right here in the front. I could hear it. So we need to push it back a little. Right there, still touching. Now it's touching a lot. So we just gotta adjust it just a little. Now I can see up top, it's clear up top, so it's touching at the bottom somewhere right here. So in that case, we're just gonna push up on it. See that? It's touching a lot. As I just dropped my flashlight. And that's it right there, guys. I think that's the spot. Let's see. I'm just listening for any scraping sound. So that's a complete rotation. I think I hear a little scraping sound at the bottom. Because what happens when you turn this reefer on and that fan is going up top, you're gonna hear all that scraping sound. You know, because at the RPM this thing is turning over, it's gonna be very loud. And I think we're good right there. So what you want to do now is you want to tighten it in the exact spot right there and don't lose that placement. So I'm going to start back here. Make sure it's still good. Yep. And I'm going to tighten the opposite one right here, and that should secure it. That's perfect. That's just my finger rubbing off the fan, by the way. So we're good. Now we can move on to the next step. Just tighten it all the way up. So I got to go back up top to tighten those two up top also. So now if you guys remember, this is why it was very important that I marked this. If I didn't mark this, you're sitting here playing a guessing game all day. All right, guys, so let me catch you guys up to speed real quick, man. It's getting a little dark out here. I had to stop and go get my kids from school. So what I'm doing right now is I'm loosening the alternator. I've already loosened this right here. This is a 1/2 inch. And in the back you have a, I believe it's a 7, let's see, 17, yep, in the back. All right, so once you loosen this right here, the alternator is basically gonna drop down, and at that point, you know, you could just lift the belt. Now you gotta be careful when you remove this. There's a washer on the inside right here. You don't wanna lose that. So I don't know if you guys can see it, but this is the washer right here. Goes right in the middle, in between the alternator right here. So it's very important that you don't lose that washer. It needs to be there. This is, there you go. Alternator, and there's the washer right there. Now that we remove this, I should be able to just lift this belt right off. All right, and I'm just gonna take it off on the bottom. And this is the easiest of the 3 belts. And just as I said, don't lose that washer. I dropped it, but it's a common washer, so I have plenty of washers in there. It's right there. I'm gonna be able to reach it right here. If I can't reach it, I have a magnet. Basically, this is what it is right here. Same thing. It's on my fingertips. And here it is. Like I said, it's pretty much the same washer as this one right here. All right, so you just put it over this one first. Get it on the back side. This one, you're just gonna put it on from the bottom first, because you actually wanna put this on because the tension on the alternator is what's gonna get this where it needs to be. All right, so now that we have the belt lined up, it's on the pulley on both sides. We're just gonna put this bolt back in. And I'm not gonna tighten it all the way. I'm just gonna finger tighten it, just like this. All right, now the washer that I dropped earlier, this is the tricky part. So you have to basically line this washer up. So just push this bolt through until you feel it. Sorry guys, I know it's dark, but this is what we're up against right now. It's getting dark out here. So the washer is on the inside. It's on the middle right here. Now, but the washer is on, and I was able to catch it pretty easy. See if I can get the light up in there so you guys can see it. So I don't know if you guys can see it, but this is the washer right here. Goes right in the middle, in between the alternator right here. So it's very important that you don't lose that washer. It needs to be there. So I'm gonna go ahead and completely tighten up this belt right here, because I'm pretty much done with this. All right, so this is a 1/2 inch. So this belt is on. All right, it's on the pulley in the back over here. It's on at the bottom and at the top of the alternator. So now I'm just gonna go ahead and just tighten this up. First, let me finger tighten it first. You want to check the tension on it also before you tighten it all the way. So basically, you just want to push up on it as much as you can. So I'm not going to tighten this bolt in the back all the way either. Just going to get it in as far as I can without tightening it, just so I have enough leverage to still push on this, just like so. So what I like to do is I'll use this, and I'll just brace on it to get the tension, and then I'll just tighten it. All right. And now I'm gonna tighten the bolt all the way in the back. Before it was just partially tightened. All right, so, and that tension is good. So now we're gonna put these belts back on. So I'm just gonna slide this through here just like this. Sometimes you gotta slightly twist it sideways just to get it to go through. All right. So this belt is all the way through. All right. So what I'm going to do, all right, so first I'm going to get it on the pulley down below, just like so. Now let me secure this belt up top. All right, so I just push up on this, just like this. And this belt is on up top. I just pushed up on this. This will release the tension. And I'll pull it forward to apply tension. So now I got to put this belt on. So I want to first get it by here, then I'm going to push down on it. And I'm going to put it on the pulley down below. Now I'm going to, it's getting dark out here, I don't know if you guys can see. So basically what I'm doing now, I'm just getting it on the pulley, and then I'm going to use a fan to push up to turn it to get it on. So watch. If you guys notice, once I turn this fan, boom, there you go. So all three belts are on. The belt that goes to the alternator, this one, and the top belt. So now it's just a matter of applying tension to the belt by simply pulling forward, just like this. But from here on out, it's pretty straightforward. The belts are on. So what I'm gonna do next, tension is good on the belts. I'm just gonna tighten these two bolts in the back, and change the air filter. Then I'm gonna change the fuel filter / water separator, my oil filter, and I'm gonna drain the oil, pour new oil in, and I'm also gonna clean the screen right here. And that should do it. The belts are all tightened. Everything is good over here. All right. Now I'm just gonna remove this fuel filter right here. And by the way, Interstate, I watched your video the other day, man. You let me down, bro. You let me down with that fuel filter, man. You know, if y'all watch Interstate Made Me's channel, that's a good dude, man. Watch his content. You know, I'm rooting for his channel. But you let me down with that fuel filter, man. I was watching that video, and the whole time I'm watching the video, I'm just saying, man, I wish I was there. I would have took it off for you, man. Try not to lose my socket there. I don't want it to roll under to where I can't reach it. So socket fell right there, and got another tool over here, but I'll get this one once I remove the oil filter. All right, so let's get this off. And start wrapping it up. All right, so that's gonna be dripping a little, so just wipe it off just like that. All right, so now we're gonna move on to the oil filter. I definitely want to get the rag involved with this one because I might be dripping some oil. All right, just as expected. I've got plenty of rags, so I ain't worried about this one. All right, guys, so we're getting down to crunch time now. So now I'm just gonna, first I'm gonna release the cap. When you release this cap, the oil will flow a lot easier. All right. Like I said, guys, I apologize. I know it's getting dark out here. Some of you guys are probably struggling to see what I'm doing right now. All right, so guys, now I'm just draining the oil. With this, it's just a half a turn. Now once you turn it halfway, the oil should start draining out. This is a pretty slow process. This is why I wish I had a bucket. Just let it drain into the bucket. As you can see, it doesn't drain a lot. So normally I would have a bucket and I'll just let it drain into the bucket. But for now, we're just gonna do it like this. That should be good right there. And I can see where it's at. So once it gets to the top, I'll just swap it out. Just cleaning up a little. All right, guys, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna finish up tomorrow. Started talking to this fellow over here who just bought a brand new Peterbilt with this step deck, and we were talking for about an hour and a half. Kind of killed my time. So I'm gonna come back tomorrow morning and I'll finish up because I want you guys to actually be able to see what I'm doing. So tomorrow morning when I drop my kids off at school, I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna finish up. So I'm just gonna put away everything for right now. The oil is completely drained, by the way. So that's where we're gonna resume from tomorrow. So tomorrow I'm gonna do the air filter up top there, put the fuel filter back on, oil filter, and I'm gonna clean the screen out and show you guys how to prime your reefer in case your reefer ever shut off on you. This is how you're going to be able to prime it and start it back. So stay tuned, guys. All right, guys, so we're back, day 2, finishing up on the service for my reefer unit. Last night things didn't really go as planned, not in terms of the service, but in terms of time. I had to leave to go get my kids from school. By the time I got back, it was just a little too late. I was racing against the clock. I could have finished last night, but you guys would have been struggling to see what I'm doing because it was getting dark out here. So I decided to shut it down. But just to pick up on where we left off, let me get up on this ladder here. So the belts are installed, all of them, up top, middle belt, and the bottom belt. So the most difficult part of the job is completed. I also removed my fuel filter, my oil filter. I drained the oil. So now I'm gonna remove the air filter. I'm also gonna remove the screen and clean it out. And I'm gonna show you guys how to prime this and get it started. In case you ever run out of fuel, this is how you get your unit started when you run out of fuel. You have to prime it. So I'm gonna show you guys how to prime this. There's a certain way you have to do it. It's not just by using a hand pump. So I'll get to that in a minute. All right, so to remove this air filter is pretty simple. Just loosen this clamp, remove the hose, and you just twist this and it comes right out. That's a pretty dirty filter right there. This is supposed to be blue, guys. Hopefully the camera is at the right angle so you guys can see. Matter of fact, let me set up this monitor on my phone, put it right here so I can see what you guys can see. But it's pretty dirty. So that's my old filter right there. So just to give you a comparison, that's the old filter. That's what it used to look like. So it's supposed to be blue. So this is completely black. So we know that's pretty clogged up. So let's go ahead and install the new one. All right, so like I said, just push it in. And this is supposed to be at the bottom. Give it a little twist like that. And it's locked in. It ain't going nowhere. So once I tighten this clamp, it's locked in there. I should be wrapping up shortly, guys. It shouldn't take me long from this point on. Like I said, changing the belts is the most difficult part of the job, especially this guy right here. This is pretty easy, but this guy up top is pretty difficult if you don't know what you're doing. So I'm gonna put my fuel filter back on before I prime this line here, because it's gonna be sucking air if I leave that filter off. So let me put this fuel filter back on. All right. So what you do is just leave it in the plastic until you get up top. After you put it on, then you remove the plastic. So this is fuel, by the way. I mark it by putting that X on the bottom so I know exactly what it is. I always keep a gallon on my truck. Right now it's almost empty, so I got to refill it next time I get to the fuel station. All right. And with this, you don't want to tighten it too much. You know, normally just hand tighten is more than enough, but I'm just gonna give it one extra turn, the filter wrench here, and that should do it. Any tighter than that, you're gonna have a big issue when it's time to take it off. I gotta get me a marker because I want to mark this, and that way I'll be able to keep track of the hours until it's time for the next service. So fuel filter is all set, air filter is all set. Now let's move on to the oil filter. And I like to use Shell Rotella. You know, that's just my preference, but whatever your preference is, that's your preference. I like Shell Rotella. Some guys like Mobile. You know, some guys like other brands. You know, I like Shell. So that's what I use in my tractor, and that's what I use in my reefer also. And listen, guys, when I started out in trucking, I didn't know how to do this stuff, you know, but I was determined to learn. You know, everything you guys see me doing right now, I learned this on my own. Nobody taught me, you know, but I was determined to learn. You know, as an owner-operator, this is how you save money. The last time I went to get a service done on this unit, don't quote me on it. If I could find a receipt, I'll put it up on the screen. But I think it was in the ballpark of between $1,300 to $1,500. So altogether, I spent, let's see, $280 for the filters and the belts. And then I bought 4 gallons of oil for $72, I believe. So there you have it. $280 plus 72, that's what, $352? Instead of going to the dealership and spending $1,500. Oh yeah, Marv's pretty good at math, by the way. I trust my numbers right there. Pretty sure that's $352. Alright, so this you could tighten with the filter wrench for sure. And the tag is right where I need it, so like I said, when I get a permanent marker later on, I'm gonna put the hours on there so I know exactly when is my next service. So I didn't pour the oil yet, but I'm just gonna put the cap back on this because once I open this up, odds are there's gonna be some diesel coming out of here. So this is where your filter screen is on this side. So I'm just gonna put this rag down because I know once I open this line, there's gonna be some fuel coming out of there. You just can't avoid that. All right, so I'm just gonna go ahead and remove the filter screen. You will see some fuel coming out of there. Now, some guys will actually replace this, but there's no point, man. You're just wasting money if you're replacing this. So it basically just screws right in here. Sometimes you gotta use a screwdriver to open it, but this screwdriver is probably too small. That's fine. It's perfect, actually. All right, so see this? There's some gunk. You know, this is from the bottom of your tank right here. This is all the stuff that gets sucked in from the bottom of your tank. So I've got some brake cleaner right here, and I'm just gonna give it a nice clean. Because if this is clogged up, it will shut the unit off. So if you're running a reefer and you run out of fuel, this is going to get clogged up, because what happens is it's going to suck up all that gunk at the bottom of the tank. How do I know? It happened to me twice. Ran out of fuel and the unit shut off. But once I put fuel in the tank, I still couldn't get it to turn on. So I had to take the screen out, clean it, prime it, and that's how I was able to get it started. All right, so that should be pretty good right there. And now you just screw this right back in, just like this. And you don't have to go crazy with this, just finger tight. Now, very important, I didn't mention this, but guys, there is a washer right here on the back side of this, and this is also one of the reasons why I put the rag there. Don't lose this washer. If you lose this washer, your day is over. So don't lose this washer. All right, so once you get a finger tightened, then I'm gonna put the socket back over it, tighten it up. Just like that. If I were to start the unit right now, you know, obviously after I put oil back in there, there's a very high possibility it won't start, because once you remove this line, you now have air in the system. So what you have to do to prime it, just open up the pump. All right. Now once you open up the pump, you're gonna open this side, just crack it just a little, just like that. Right? Now once you crack this and you start priming this, you should see all the air bubbles disappear. When you see fuel coming out, just fuel, then it's primed. And sometimes it's going to take you a while, but it should get to a point where all you see is just fuel coming out. All right, like right there. All the air pocket is disappearing. Now I see fuel coming out. So at this point, you just go ahead and close this and tighten it. And at this point, you could continue priming it, and just close your primer, just like this. But in case you ever run out of fuel, this is exactly what you have to do to prime it. If you do not prime the system when you run out of fuel, good luck trying to get it started. I just want to get rid of all this fuel on my belt. So I'm going to get a dry rag and wipe this up. And also I'm going to put some terminal grease on the battery. I could use a little terminal grease right here also. I see a little signs of corrosion. So first I'm going to remove the hot line over there. so I don't get zapped while I'm doing this. So need my 9/16 for that one, and it looks to be 1/2 inch for this one. All right, so that's the next job. All right, guys, so like I said, I'm just gonna remove the hot side on this battery so I don't get zapped when I remove the hot on the start over there. All right, so we'll leave that right there. And now I don't have to worry about being zapped when I remove this. All right, so that's loosened. Should be able to locate that. And that is one thing about working on a reefer, man. You always got to worry about things falling in tight places. You know, like this right here, that's pretty tight. And I just pick it up just like that. And the washer is right here. Move it over there. And there you go. So I couldn't find any sandpaper, but a little brake cleaner on this rag will do the trick for now. All right. Now you can see where the corrosion was starting to form. This should bring it right back to where it needs to be. Hands a little. Now we could put some terminal grease on there. Now I'm not sure why there's 2 lock washers on there, but I'm gonna remove this one because that nut was barely on there because of that reason. So put on the flat washer first, locking washer there, and I just dropped the nut once again, but I think we know how to get it out. So alright, hopefully I don't drop it again. Should be good. I'm a 1/2 inches right here. Guys, you don't want to over tighten this because there's the possibility it might strip it out, and this is the last thing you want to strip out right here. And now I'm just gonna put a little more terminal grease on there, just like that. Now let's move on to the battery side. Now she's live, guys, so gotta be careful now. Alright, just tighten it up with a 9/16. And that should do it. Now you don't have to do this with the grounds. Because the grounds, you don't really get corrosion from the grounds, but I'm just gonna clean it up a little. And I probably should have done this before I put the live back on, but I'll be careful not to touch the live side here. Just gonna clean it up a little. Alright, that looks a lot better. And that's just me, man. Some guys don't put this stuff on the grounds, but I go crazy with this stuff. I don't really want to spray it on the inside there because I know I'm gonna make a mess, so we'll just put it on the terminal only. Alright. And we're pretty much on the home stretch, man. I just gotta do a little cleaning up on the inside here, put some oil in the unit, and we should be able to get it started. And I'm not gonna cut the camera. We're gonna leave it on one take when I'm doing that, so you guys will see what I'm seeing. All right, so gotta get some oil. Let me just clean up this area here. Use some brake cleaner and just clean this up. You gotta be careful with this brake cleaner and your belts. You don't want to get this stuff on your belt. This will definitely rot away at your belts. These are brand new belts, so we don't need that. Alright guys, so I'm just gonna grab some oil and put some oil in this thing and fire it up. So I did remove the oil filter and just gonna put it back on. Alright, so now we're just gonna pour some oil in there. I'm gonna use this funnel right here. Now to open and close the oil drain, it's just a half a turn. So when you see this little section right here facing outwards, it's closed. If you can't see it, if it's on the top, then it's open. All right, so this little section right here. So we want to put it right there. So now I know it's closed. And as you guys can see, I just opened it and the oil started dripping. You know, there is a little bit of oil still at the bottom because I'm parked on a little slope, so you're not going to get all of it, but you'll get most of it. I left it draining overnight on the rag, so when I came back the rag barely had any residue on it, so it's all gone. So now we're just going to fill her up. So I poured a total of 3.5 gallons in there, and now I'm just checking the oil level. I'm pretty sure you guys didn't want to sit there and watch me pour oil for 5 minutes, and as you guys can see, it's right where it needs to be. So that's actually perfect. All right, so now I'm just gonna tighten up, do one last run through, make sure everything is good, and now we're gonna fire it up. Get rid of all my tools, funnel, plastic. Now we're gonna cover this back up. Sockets, checking all the grooves, make sure I didn't leave anything. All right. So I'm just gonna double check, make sure these terminals are tight. Pretty sure they are. Alternator is tight. That's tight. That's definitely tight. And I'm pretty sure I tightened the ones in the back, but I'm just gonna double check just to make certain. That's tight back there. Check the other side. That's tight. All right, guys, well, I think it's time to start it up. First, make sure I get rid of my phone from up here. Should be good to go. All right, guys, so here it is. The moment of truth. This is what you guys stuck around for. So let's start it up. And I will say, it is an older unit. You know, it's over 10 years old. This unit is about 12 years old now. So on the initial startup, you might hear a little squeaking, but after a few seconds, it's gonna go away. That's just what it does. And one take, I'm not gonna cut it. It does take a little while to cycle before it starts. So 70 degrees in the box, set on 24. That was my last load. And it should start up in a second. One take, we ain't gonna cut it. So once you hear that little click, it's gonna start up. There it is. There you have it, guys. Let's get up on this ladder real quick. In real life. I'm a trucker before I'm a YouTuber. And I'm just gonna let it keep running until the unit kicks into overdrive, which should be any second now. Because it's 74 degrees in the box and it's set on 24, so it should kick into overdrive. Now, as you guys can see, that T is white. When that T is white, that means there's no fault code. If that T was to turn yellow right now and you see a K in yellow, then you're in trouble. This right here, this is how you separate yourself from the pack. You have YouTubers who make trucking videos, and then you have truckers who make YouTube videos. I think it's pretty safe to say I fit in the second category. Hopefully I didn't bust your brain too much trying to figure it out. All right, guys, so I've had the unit running now for about 20 minutes. And I'm gonna go over there and just check the temperature, make sure it's dropping temperature like it's supposed to. You know, it's about 75 degrees outside today. And when I first started the unit, it was 74 degrees in the box. So I'm gonna go over there and just check the temperature. And I'm also gonna shut it down, and I'm gonna check the oil level again. And that should complete the service job. All right, so it's at 55 degrees. I have it set to drop down to 24 degrees. And it's at 55 after just 20 minutes. So she's cooling like a charm right now. It's an old unit, but it's doing exactly what it's supposed to do, man. It's a good running unit. And she's dropping down real good, considering the temperature is 75 degrees outside. So after 20 minutes, dropped 19 degrees, so it's doing what it's supposed to do. So to all my reefer guys, I want y'all to pay attention to this. If you notice, all my new belts, they sit flush in the pulley. If you notice over here, it's flushed. The old belts were recessed down in the pulley. So when your belts start to sink and recess down into the pulley, that's a pretty good indication it's time to change them. And as for my Freon is good. Y'all can't see that ball back there because it's floating all the way at the top. But you know, even when the unit is off and that ball is floating like that, you know you're good on Freon. So the only other thing that I would do to this unit right now, which I can't do right now, is to clean the coil. You gotta power wash it, but you gotta be careful. You know, you can't put that hose, that nozzle right up against it because you will damage the coil. So you gotta clean the coil also. You know, I can see right now on the outside, there's some grass up in the coil up there. Let me see if I can zoom in on this camera a little bit. Right there, you got some grass and stuff. So that's the next thing to do, is just to clean the coils. And this unit should be good for another couple hundred hours, man. So guys, as usual, if you made it to the end of this video, if you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up. You know, hopefully there's somebody out there who learned something from this video. And shout out to all my loyal subscribers, by the way. So I was trying to end the video, do a little outro, but my camera had different plans. My camera battery died on me. I do have several batteries in the truck, but I didn't feel like going back in the truck. You know, my hands were still greasy, and I just wanted to finish up and complete the job. So to all my loyal subscribers, appreciate you guys. You know, this is a long video. You know, it's almost an hour long. And the fact that you guys are still here watching, I just want to acknowledge you and say thank you. I appreciate you. And I know you guys probably already gave this video a thumbs up, but let's take it to the next step. You know, let's share this video. Let's get these videos out. You know, just sitting here right now, editing this video and going through this video, there's a lot of information in this video. You know, there's a lot to be learned from this video. So we need to get these videos out. You know, we need to get these videos to hit the algorithm the way they're supposed to. So if you know somebody, especially a driver that runs reefer, refrigerated, share this video. You just never know. One day they might be on the road, they run into a situation where they lose a belt. You know, at least they could go back and watch this video, and now they know how to change that belt. You know, so let's share these videos and get them out. So to everybody, once again, you tuned in, made it to the end. You are greatly appreciated. So until the next one, peace out.